Welcome back to Gen Z Insights. I'm Glenn. We have a special episode ready for you guys today. It's going to be Miami Heat's 2021-2022 regular season schedule prediction. I'm excited to see what I end up thinking the record will be. I do think that they're a really underslept on team, an underdog team that's going to come out very hot. It's going to surprise a lot of people. I think they could challenge any of the top teams in the East, bring them 5 or 6 games if everyone stays healthy and the chemistry comes together. I did go ahead and I built a presentation to share with you guys today. But please make sure to like this video and subscribe if you're new. Also hit that notification bell if you want to get notified every time a new video drops. A new video will come out every single day, so come back here to check back and watch the next one. Other than that, I did go ahead and I built a presentation to share with you guys today to go over the schedule. Like I said, I just see the Miami Heat as a very slept-on team that's going to be very difficult. Obviously, you have Jimmy Butler, uh, Kyle Lowry, Bam, all-star caliber players. And then you have very good role players in Tucker and a very underrated player in Oladipo. So let's get right into the roster. Like I said, we talked about Jimmy Butler, but Bam, an all-star level caliber center, a little undersized at 6'9", but a very good player. Dwayne Dedman, a very good role-playing center. I don't think he's got the role that he needs to be super successful the last couple seasons, but I believe he will be very good in this role for the Heat. To be honest, I have no idea who Marcus Garrett is. And then we have Udonis Haslem, a great veteran leadership, a piece that's there for a very long time. I believe this is like his 17th or 18th season as well. Tyler Hero didn't have a great season last year, but a very underrated up and coming young player who could surprise a lot of people. Great shooter. Kyle Lowry, very good leader, veteran leadership piece. Also a great shooter and just a point guard playmaker. Very good player. Markieff Morris was on the Lakers last year. He can be very good off the bench for you. He can help you play small ball at the 5. He can shoot threes. He can play defense. If his shot is on, he's a very valuable piece for a contending team. I don't know who RJ is. I know a little bit of Kapala. I don't think he'll play too much. Victor Oladipo coming back from his injury. I do see him bouncing back and having a very good year. I don't know if he'll be starting or coming off the bench, but he's a very good player. Last time he was really healthy was in Indiana. Whenever he got to go up against the Cavaliers, he did very good. Almost beat the Cavs in 7 games. Would have beat LeBron James. If he's healthy, he's scary. Duncan Robinson just got a huge contract. Very good shooter. Not a very good defender, but overall just a very valuable piece. I think he'll start, but he could very well come off the bench and just light it up. That might be the best role for him. Max Strus, he's a very underrated shooter as well. PJ Tucker, that's a huge signing for the Miami Heat, coming out from the Bucks championship win. He's just a winner. He's a great defender, great three-point corner shooter, and he's going to be very valuable for this team. And then we have Gabe Vincent and Omer Yurtseven. Omer Yurtseven. I don't know who that is, but I don't think that they'll be contributing too much. But they have a very loaded roster, as you can see. There's at least 8, 9, 10 players on this team who can play very valuable minutes. Plus, they could also pick up another piece or two later in the offseason whenever the buyout market comes. So Gen Z Insights 2021-2022 Miami Heat regular season schedule prediction begins now. Alrighty, and I am going to exit out of this full screen here so we can go back and forth between the season losses and count how many losses are going. After that, we will go ahead and count the overall record. But opening night, we have Milwaukee Bucks. I do see that as a loss just because I think that the Miami Heat will need a little bit of time to, gel with chemistry. Although I'm sure they're going to be in the gym, have been in the gym the whole offseason altogether, grinding maybe harder than any other team in the league. When Jimmy first got there, he made that very clear that they're going to be grinding harder than anybody. But I do see the first night being a loss. But I see them beating Indiana, beating Orlando, losing to Brooklyn in the 4th game. Still early in the season, and Brooklyn is just a very stacked team, probably the best team in the league by far. They're incredible. Win against Charlotte, a loss against Memphis, only because they're going to lose against some of the lower level seeded teams. If you've ever watched any of my other videos about rating team schedules, I always have them losing some of those against some of those lower level teams because it always happens. Whether it's an early morning game, on the road game, a 5 out of 7 nights on the road game, something's going to happen to where you're going to lose against one of these lower level teams. So let's say they split between Charlotte or Memphis. And then against Dallas, I would say they beat Dallas. They go and beat Boston. And then they split 2 of these three games right here against Utah, Denver, and Los Angeles. Probably lose against the Lakers and possibly Utah, but I do think that they beat at least either Utah or Denver Nuggets there. But let's say they have 5 losses after that. So now we're out to LA and Utah. I say they split one of those games, but they do beat Oklahoma City, young up and coming team. They should take care of them. New Orleans, and I do think they could beat Washington twice in a row. I do believe they have the mentality for that. So let's give them one more loss thus far. So we're up to 6 losses so far going into Detroit. It is at Detroit. I would say that they're going to lose one of these against Detroit or Minnesota. So let's go ahead and give them their 7th loss of the season for my prediction. Chicago, and then we have Denver as well. I definitely think that they could potentially lose back-to-back games here. One is going to be at Chicago, the other at home. But Denver could be playing very good with Jamal Murray coming back. So let's say they have 9 losses up until this point. All right, I see a win against Cleveland. Same game, okay. And then a win against Indiana. Possibly a win against Milwaukee for the second game. A win against Memphis, but probably a loss against Milwaukee and a win against Chicago. So one more loss being added. So they're up to 10 losses for the season so far. Then we have Cleveland again. I see a W. Philadelphia, I think they could definitely beat Philly with, the Ben Simmons drama. It depends if they get a good trade out of Ben Simmons. I don't see him really staying and contributing too much. I don't think he wants to be there. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Then we have Orlando, I see a win. Detroit, I see a loss. And Indiana, I see a loss, but I do think they turn around and beat Detroit and Orlando. So that will be 12 losses on the season so far. And then we have Washington. I could definitely see a split between Washington or San Antonio. Both, decent teams, maybe not in the playoffs, but they're definitely going to be one of those teams that are going to win, 30 or 40 games, and they're going to take some losses on some of the best teams in the league. I guarantee it. So we'll split there, but a win against Houston and Sacramento. So 13 losses. And then after Sacramento, Golden State, it's on January 3rd. That's after Clay comes back. I do see that as a loss. Portland, a win. Phoenix, I would say a win or a loss. So 2 losses out of those 3 right there. So we're up to 15 losses so far on the season. And after we get done with this page, we're more than halfway through the season. So 15 losses so far is not bad at all. And then we have Atlanta twice. I would say split one of those. Loss against Philadelphia in the second game, and then a win against Toronto. So 2 out of those last 4, I see them splitting. That would leave them with 17 losses so far. So now on to the second part of the schedule for the Miami Heat. They have the Portland Trailblazers. Definitely can see them splitting 2 out of the top 4 games there. Portland they're going to be a good team. Like I said, it depends on what happens with Dame. Atlanta's a good young up-and-coming team that could surprise anyone. It's at Atlanta. The Lakers, they could just be better. Maybe they'll beat the Lakers in the second game of the season. So let's say they lose 2 of those games against Portland and Atlanta. And they turn back around and they beat the Lakers the second game of the season. That they play the Lakers, of course. And then New York, I see a W. The Clippers, I could definitely see a loss. Toronto, a win. And then 2 losses against Boston and then Toronto. So 3 losses total. I just think they play Toronto so many times, they're going to end up, taking an L from Toronto at some point. Maybe not, because they are a rebuilding team. They lost a lot of players, but one of those lower level teams are going to beat them. I'd actually say they beat Toronto both games. I actually say that they would end up losing against Charlotte. So let's replace that loss with Charlotte. So they beat Toronto both times. Then we have Washington and New Orleans. I would say you split one of those as well, just being, not quite at the end of the season. Really, really in that main part of the season, everyone's going to be playing as hard as they possibly can. I just see them probably taking a loss right there as well. And then we have Brooklyn and Dallas. I definitely think that they're going to lose against Brooklyn again, even though it'll be later in the season, but I do see them beating Dallas. And then we have Charlotte again, New York, San Antonio. I would say they have to, I don't know, they could go on a little 3-game winning streak. possibly beat Chicago the second time around. I think this is the second time in the schedule so far. Probably then a loss at Milwaukee and Brooklyn, but beat Philadelphia and Houston. So 2 more losses added there, but then they bounce back with another 2-game winning streak. Oh, not 75 losses, 27 so far. All righty. And then I would say a win against Phoenix, a win against Cleveland and Minnesota, Detroit as well, and then probably just a random loss against Oklahoma City. The season starting to wind down. You're gonna have some players obviously injured during the season, resting during the season. Maybe a bigger trade happens when maybe one of these other players get better or get on a better team. Possibly a young player like Cade Cunningham plays great and just wins a game against them. That's very possible. But I do see another win against Philadelphia, a loss against Golden State, a win against New York, and let's say they finally beat Brooklyn March 26th. So 2 more losses, which I did not anticipate them having 30 losses up to this point. So I'm very surprised. Let me know in the comment section what you think below. If you're a Miami Heat fan, I do not mean no disrespect. I love the Miami Heat. I think they're a very slept on team. I just think with the chemistry, some of the injury liabilities with Oladipo, some of the defensive liabilities with Hero and Duncan. I just think that it might come to bite them in the regular season, but they'll be very dangerous come playoff time. I see a win against Sacramento, Boston, and then a loss against Chicago, a win against Toronto, and then the last 3 games are tough. So let's say they have 31 losses thus far. And I believe I did have the Chicago Bulls around 52 and 30 whenever I went through their record, just so you guys know as well. I do think Chicago's going to be a very good team as well, but they could easily switch places. The Heat could very easily be better than the Bulls. They're more experienced, have more leadership, have more dogs, I feel like. But the Bulls are going to be very exciting as well. Like I said, a win against Toronto, and then we have LaMelo again, Trae Young to end the season in Orlando. I see them beating Orlando and probably splitting and a loss against Charlotte. So they'll have 1 more loss in the last 4 there. So overall, this is Genzinsights prediction. I see them losing 32 games, give or take, a few. The season could change a lot. They're going to hit momentum. They're going to have longer winning streaks than I anticipated here, of course, and longer losing streaks as well. It's very difficult to guess this, to guess the schedule. I could break it down more and talk about them playing at the stadium versus playing at home. But I feel like this is a very fair schedule. An up-and-coming team adding a lot of pieces, some defensive liabilities, even with Bam being 6'9". It's a little bit of a liability, but he's a great player and he's a great defender as well. But you guys have to let me know what you think. Overall record, of course, I guess I have them 50 and 32. Double check. Yeah, 32 losses, so 50 and 32. I feel like that could definitely either leave them tied with the Chicago Bulls for the 3rd or 4th seed, or just right below on the 4th seed. I think the top 4 seeds in the East will be the Nets, the Bucks, and then the Heat and the Bulls. The Heat and the Bulls, I do think the Chicago Bulls have a good chance to be 3, but this Miami team is very dangerous. And like I said, no one in the media is really discussing it. And like I said, what seed does Miami get? I would say they end up getting the 4th seed just behind the Chicago Bulls. That does not mean I don't think they could beat the Bulls in the playoffs. I think when the playoffs come, you want veteran leadership. You want players who've been there before, like Jimmy Butler and the Heat were in the finals 2 years ago. I think that experience would end up overpowering the Chicago Bulls if they met in the playoffs. But I do think the Bulls have a chance to have a higher seed at the end of the season. You have to see a lot of good things from Lonzo Ball, a lot of good things from DeMar DeRozan, and you have to have good pieces coming off the bench like Alex Caruso. But this team has just as much depth, just as much firepower, shooting, defense. They're going to be insanely fun to watch this year. So just let me know what you guys think. Let me know how excited you are for the regular season, and in particular the Miami Heat's regular season. Give me your prediction down below in the comments. I will be replying to everybody. I just want to grow this community as much as I can, get as much fans and people who want to be a part of this and watch every video. So please share this with your friends and just let them know that this is here to stay a long time and to jump on the train early. And so for the last slide here, just please, guys, follow me on social media. It's just at Genzinsights INC for Twitter and Instagram, and Genzinsights at Genzinsights for TikTok. I try to post as much as I can all there. If you comment to me, I'm going to make sure to comment back. I appreciate any love, any likes, retweets, likes, pictures, subscribing to the channel, liking the video. Anything is highly, highly appreciated. But other than that, that was my last slide for today. I just appreciate you guys jumping in the video today, just giving me a chance and letting me show you what my prediction is. Again, just let me know what your thoughts are below. I'm very excited for the NBA season. Preseason is in about 24 days, I believe. One of the first games we'll react to is the Lakers versus the Nets in the first preseason game. Let me know if you guys want to see some of that. But other than that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Gen Z Insights, and we'll definitely catch you on the next one. Thank you and goodbye.